interrupt this program for breaking news.
Thank you for being with us here. I'm Ashley Rowe. We want to get you some breaking news. North Carolina is preparing for another winter storm this weekend. We want to get you now live to a news conference from Governor Josh Stein. Just walking in, introducing himself to some people, thanking some of the DOT workers who were working tirelessly over the course of last weekend and this week as they worked to clear the roads from this past weekend's ice storm. So he's thanking crowds right now. He's at the DOT facility in Raleigh, and he's going to be outlining to us how our state will respond to this storm, of course. We're just coming off of that ice storm. We are just seeing some of our students returning to class. Some students in and around the area are still out of school, learning remotely. Wake County Schools was on a 2-hour delay today, and now families are working to figure out what might be next week with their kiddos in school. You're looking at brine trucks. This is some of the images that Sky 5 captured today. Trucks are out brining the roads now. They are getting ready for this next blast of winter weather. Our WRAL meteorologists are forecasting measurable snow. So we're talking anywhere between 1, maybe even 6 inches of snow. At this time, they're trying to look at some of the models. As we get those high resolution models, we'll get better information. The data will refine and we'll be able to more accurately predict or forecast just what kind of snow we are expecting. But at this juncture, anywhere between 1 and maybe even 6 inches of snow. We'll be speaking with our meteorologists throughout the evening here on WRAL News beginning at 4 o'clock. Once again, Governor Josh Stein is expected to be speaking about the various steps that they are taking in advance of the winter storm headed our way, with measurable snow likely in our area. Right now, he is thanking NCDOT workers for all their tireless efforts over the last week. We are expecting him to come to the podium at any moment here. Let me just speak with my control room to see if we're getting any closer to that. All right, it looks like we might be a couple minutes away from that now. These are live pictures from that DOT facility in Raleigh, where we are expecting that news conference. Also expected to speak is William Ray. He is the head of our North Carolina Emergency Operations. They'll be able to provide us with more accurate information about just how many trucks are going to be out on the roads over the course of the next few days, the trucks that you're going to be seeing, the snow plows, salting trucks, etc. We also have our crew. Sean Gallagher is there. He is going to be providing us with reports throughout the afternoon here as we look to get you prepared. I know that a lot of us are still dealing with some icy conditions in our neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods have been trying to get cleared with the temperatures above freezing, but still some icy spots. I know in my driveway we're seeing some icy spots. As we wait for Josh Stein to get to the podium here to provide us with that update on the winter weather. Again, our team of meteorologists has been working tirelessly to bring you the most accurate forecast. We have the most experienced news team and weather team in North Carolina. And right now, we are forecasting measurable snow. Anywhere between 1 inch to maybe 6 inches of snow could be coming our way. And as we get that high resolution data coming over today and tomorrow, we'll be able to really accurately predict. But at this time, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner during our noon broadcast was telling us that we could be seeing some snow starting in the overnight hours Friday into Saturday. And then we'll see numerous bands of snow coming in throughout the day on Saturday. So this isn't just a quick shot of snow. We could be experiencing this throughout the day on Saturday. Mike Mays is standing by. Mike, I was trying to do my very best impression of a meteorologist here.
I thought that you're doing the big old stretch.
Yes, exactly. We're waiting for Governor Stein. Yeah. But in the meantime, while we wait for his address, bring us up to speed on where things stand.
Okay, so there are a lot of moving parts in our forecast. First off, we do have that winter storm watch that Elizabeth told you about this morning. This is likely going to be upgraded to a winter storm warning. We're seeing the possibility of some snow. I had explained on Tuesday that we have an upper level low scooting through the area that in itself, without the surface low that's supposed to develop offshore, will bring us some snow. What I envision after looking at the models from home this morning, I envision 2 bullseyes of snow, one happening up in the mountains, one happening down east at the coast, and in between we will see some snow. I'm not 100% confident at this time that we will see a heavy amount of snow here in the Triangle. It just depends on how that surface low develops. It's possible we may see banding taking place in the coastal areas, and some of it may back farther to the north and west toward our part of North Carolina. But as of right now, just looking for light amounts of snow. Now, I'm borrowing Kat Campbell's show because I've literally just walked in the door, so I'm just picking some products that she's got in her show. So this is the probability for 6 inches of snow for our part of North Carolina. So you see it's about a 31% chance in Raleigh, 33% chance in Fayetteville. And you'll notice the darker colors down east toward the coast. That's where there's a higher likelihood that we could see up to 6 inches of measurable snow. As of right now, from the European ensemble probabilities that came out this morning, that probability is very low in our part of the state. We've got a new high-resolution model coming in this afternoon that Kat and I will look over, and we lean heavily on what we call our most reliable high-resolution model. And so we're going to look at that when it comes in, plus our in-house futurecast, and determine what we could possibly see. Now, in the meantime, I'm basing this off of what our morning crew came up with. And so they're talking about a lighter band here in our part of North Carolina, and then a heavier band of snow down east toward the coast. That's probably where they're going to see the greatest totals of 6 and above, because they'll have access to the surface low moisture. But in between, I wholeheartedly believe that we are going to see some snow out of this. The big question right now is how much could fall, Ashley?
A quick question for you, Mike. When we talk about this snowfall, we're talking about over the course of Saturday, all day Saturday, and then will we have Sunday to sort of take a breath and let the roads clear? What's your forecast looking like for that?
Well, from what I've looked at this morning, the timing would be it would start as some light precipitation. And let's just go ahead and call it snow, because I think that's what's going to be. I think the column will be cold enough from top to bottom that we would see snow. So it's possible we could start to see some light snow develop in this area as early as Friday afternoon. That's why the winter storm watch starts, I believe, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, to give folks the proper time to prepare and get ready for the storm. So if it starts in the afternoon here, it's likely to continue into Friday night, likely to continue into Saturday. From what I saw in the models this morning, the American model had it snowing all day on Saturday, and then drier air starts to punch in aloft, and that would cut off the machine to develop snow, and it would move down east toward the coast. So the time frame we're talking about is starting Friday afternoon, lasting Friday night, through the day on Saturday, into Saturday night, and then ending on Sunday morning. And that's pretty much the time frame that I talked about when I was here Tuesday. I was able to take the day off yesterday, which was much needed.
I've got another question for you, Mike. When we talk about snow, I know my kid is going to want to run outside as quick as she possibly can and build a snowman or do snow angels. Are we talking like snowman type of snow here?
It would probably be the powdery consistency, because the air is going to be so cold. We could end up with temperatures in the teens during the afternoon on Saturday. And you also have to be aware, as a mom, I don't know if you want your kids to be out for too long, because wind chills could be down in the single digits while this is going on, because we could see winds gusting 25 to 35 miles per hour, and with temperatures in the teens, you wouldn't want them to be outside for too long playing in the snow.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was a kid and growing up in Canada. And oh, here we go. Okay, we've got Governor Josh Stein now coming to the podium for real this time. Let's get over to him as he addresses how the state is preparing for this winter storm.
Good afternoon. I'm here at a brine facility for the North Carolina Department of Transportation. These guys have been working for about a week and a half, almost nonstop. I just talked to a couple of the crew. 91 hours, 101 hours in the last week, and they are ready to go again, because we're going to have weather this weekend. We'll have a fuller briefing tomorrow on the weather, but it looks like it's going to be snow, not ice this time. That's a good thing, but it's still going to have real impacts on our lives. So if you can stay home Friday night and bundle up, we recommend you doing it. These guys need to be on the roads plowing, preparing before the storm with brine, then applying salt and sand to deal with it. And if you can stay off the roads, you're going to make their jobs a whole lot easier, a whole lot safer, and you will be safe as well. So we really encourage folks to stay home starting Friday night. Happy to take any questions.
What did you hear from the crews that you spoke to today that surprised you most?
Not that it surprised me, because I know how dedicated state employees are, but these guys are dedicated. They are working their tails off. 90 hours last week, 100 hours last week, and they're ready to saddle up and do it again, because they know that the state needs our road system, and they're the ones who are going to keep those roads safe and keep people. We don't believe we had any traffic fatalities last week because of the storm. In a state of 11 million people, that is remarkable, and it's a testament to their hard work to clear the roads. It's a testament to the Highway Patrol making sure that clear of abandoned vehicles and being on the roads. Testament to the National Guard. I saw a great video of them getting trucks out of the median. These folks care deeply about their work and making sure that people are safe. And then finally, it's a testament to people staying home. And we're lucky that this is going to hit us on the weekend, so there will be less traffic. If you can stay home on Friday night, do it.
What's different about preparing for this compared to last week as far as, I guess, roads in particular, and just we're not expecting long-term power outages like we were a week ago?
Yeah. The main difference is we were expecting sleet and freezing rain last week. This week, we're expecting snow. That means that we think that there will be fewer power outages, or the risk of power outages are less. That doesn't mean that there will not be power outages. There certainly, almost surely will be power outages, but it won't be in the entirety of a region. It'll be in more specific locations. These guys are going to have to still work hard to clear the roads. It's going to be coming. It's going to be windy. They're going to be out there plowing, and for them, it's going to be very much the same. For us, we're hoping that power outages are a smaller part of the story.
Is supply impacted at all as far as road treatments because this is coming right after another storm?
No, that was a question I just asked them. Do they feel like they have enough salt? Do they have enough sand? And they feel very confident in the amount of supplies that they have.
Obviously, the kids have been out of school. We've had a couple of virtual days, and I know they're happy, but their parents aren't necessarily as excited. Are you guys anticipating that the districts will probably have some snow days, and will the parents have to do any makeup days later in the year?
Yeah, I can't speak for the details of each school system's calendar, but I can tell you that we're very likely going to get hit by a lot of snow. It's going to be very cold next week, which means that it's going to stick around. I fully anticipate for families to be impacted for a few days. One good thing is we hope that this is snow and not ice. It's not sleet. It's not freezing rain. So use this as an opportunity to remind yourself how to sled.
Colder temperatures, obviously, if it gets any colder, it could maybe nullify the effects of the brine that we always hear about, the impacts. I mean, what strategies are you hoping to hear from the folks here today about how they're going to combat the continuous cold weather?
Well, they're already applying brine today. They like to do it within 48 hours of the expected storm, which we think is going to be hitting Friday night. So they're going to be working really hard tomorrow. So to the extent folks don't need to drive tomorrow, don't drive tomorrow, so that these guys can do the prep work that they need to do. They're going to be immediately ready to bring their plows out come Friday night into Saturday. Yeah, in terms of the federal government, yeah. Look, the federal government needs to operate. They need to have a budget. We need the support of FEMA to help recover in Western North Carolina. The public assistance reimbursements need to come through. The hazard mitigation programs that help us build resilience into our infrastructure for the next storm, that needs to come through. There's absolutely no reason why you cannot have basic accountability for ICE, not for Immigration Customs Enforcement, Border Patrol. They can wear body cams. They can have their name on their uniform. They do not have to wear masks. They can have relationships with state and local where they're informing them of what their actions are. These things are basic measures of accountability and good law enforcement. They can do those things and keep the government open. They need to keep the government open.
Governor, where are you guys more concerned about the effects of this storm coming into this weekend? Are there particular concerns along the coast as well?
Yeah, it is on the east side. The last storm came in from the west. This storm's coming in from the east. We expect to have greater concentrations of snow east rather than the mountains. It's kind of backwards from what most people expect. There is also concern about overwash from tides on the Outer Banks, and so people on the Outer Banks need to be aware and be careful. So these guys are spread out around the state. They know how to handle these kind of storms, and they're ready to help the people of North Carolina get through this.
Are you anticipating declaring another state of emergency going into this storm?
Yes, in fact, right now I've just declared a state of emergency for this storm, separate from the one that we had last week. It helps us to mobilize our state emergency management team. It also helps prepare us in case we need federal assistance from FEMA down the road to have declared an emergency for this storm.
How have your communications been with the White House from last week's storm and going into this week's storm?
Last week, the White House and the administration was very responsive. I heard from the Coast Guard. I heard from the White House. They wanted to make sure that we had what we needed. I asked the president for a declaration of a storm declaration, and they granted it within a day. Very responsive. So I was pleased with that, and we hope that whatever needs we have of the federal government with this storm, they're equally as responsive.
One of the other questions you were asking down there in front of the brine was about the capabilities for the state to allocate resources locally as well. That was some of the concerns we heard from people out and about over the weekend. Just a lot of the major highways, NCDOT did a great job clearing, but a lot of the local side roads that people in front of their homes, they were still covered Sunday going into Monday. What message do you have to North Carolinians that they can safely get out and about after the storm on their local roads in their towns and cities across the state?
Well, these guys have to prioritize the interstates first, and then the major state roads second, and then they can get into the secondary roads later. And we wish after a big storm that it could be within 24 hours. That's just not the way the world works. So we ask people to be patient, to understand that it's better to not be on the roads if you possibly cannot be. If you have to be on the roads, give a lot of distance to the car in front of you. Go slower. We want people to be safe. We want them to get through, and we want them to get back to their normal life as quickly as they possibly can, but we have to be reasonable as well.
Do you anticipate requesting another federal emergency declaration? Can it carry over?
We would have to request a separate federal emergency declaration for this storm. We don't know yet if we're going to need to do that.
Did you use it for this past one?
At this point, we're considering whether we need to expand it to cover more expenses that were incurred. So we got the declaration. That does not mean that we're going to get the funding request that we need. We will be looking at that in the coming days.
What are the gaps?
In what sense?
So you said you need to expand it to look at some other expenses.
Yeah. Will, why don't you come forward and explain what you were telling me earlier?
Yes, sir. So the declaration that we received last week for that event was in the federal terms it was not a major disaster declaration. It was an emergency declaration. And what that did, based on the governor's request, was give us access to federal resources if we would need them for that event. What the governor mentioned is we are going to look at, like some of the other states that were impacted by that significant ice event have done recently, do we need to take a look at an expansion of that request to potentially be able to support state and local governments that expended a significant amount of cost in the response phase? I think we're going to take a look at that over the next couple of days, and again, may have some movement there. I think we're going to continue to evaluate what may be needed for this particular event, and certainly make the appropriate recommendations up on any steps that could be taken.
Final question.
What role does the National Guard play in supporting the efforts of all these local entities?
They deploy all across the state to be responsive to whatever the needs are. For instance, there were some trucks that ran off the highway last week, and they brought their huge military trucks out to help pull them out. General Hunt, why don't you come forward and talk about the role of the National Guard?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. First, I want to thank the National Guardsmen who are out there, who left their homes of warmth and safety to support the citizens of North Carolina. But our main focus and our main mission is the protection of life and property of the citizens of North Carolina. And we do that with working with the Department of Transportation and the North Carolina Highway Patrol as a team. And we'll go as a group, and like the governor said, we pulled out multiple vehicles last week in the mountains that have very difficult terrain. We pulled vehicles out, trucks out, commercial vehicles with our equipment. So that's our major role, is partnering with our other two agencies here. Thank you. I'm sorry?
Are you all prepared for anything out on the coast this weekend?
Oh, yes, sir. It's a statewide event last week, so we're just shuffling some resources around to the middle part of the state and the eastern part of the state right now as we talk.
I have a question for DOT.
Thank you.
Once the storm actually gets here, I mean, how are the plows deployed out there? Will they be out while the snow is falling, or do you wait until the event is over for them to get out and clear the snow?
Well, we'll start responding throughout the storm, kind of assessing, where the hot spots are and where we need to deploy resources. But we won't wait until all the snowflakes have fallen before we start responding to the storm.
Thank you.
My final comment is just, as folks out there, crews out there working hard, when they see law enforcement out in the community, when they see the National Guard deployed, just say words of thanks, because if we're lucky, we're at home where it's warm. These folks are out on the streets trying to make sure that everything is safe for us when we have to go out and about. And so we just owe them all a really big debt of gratitude. Thank you.
And there we have Governor Josh Stein bringing us a briefing there. And you just heard him speaking about DOT crews. After working 90, 100 hours last week, they're going to be back at it again for this next round of winter weather. Bottom line, stay home Friday night. That is the governor's message. He needs the roads to be clear so that the crews can do their work, can get the roads cleared off as the snow moves in, asking folks to stay home if possible. A nice moment of levity. He says, use this as an opportunity to remind yourself how to sled, because we are expecting snow this weekend, not ice. You also heard Sean Gallagher. Our WRAL's Sean Gallagher will bring us more at 4 o'clock on how the state is getting ready for this next blast of winter weather. Stay with us here on WRAL News.
We now return you to regular programming.